Well, hello and welcome back to Poshcats Camping. I am very excited this morning. I don't normally say that, but we have taken the opportunity from Bluetti to review the EB70, which is a portable power station. And before you switch off, I know there's been a lot on the media, social media, about power stations. We've had a smaller version of this for two and a half years, and we've really enjoyed using it. It's got us out of trouble. And the reason for me being particularly happy about trying the Bluetti is that the previous model is becoming slightly out of date now. The technology is improving, but Bluetti are keeping things simple, and that's good for me because I don't want anything too complicated. I want something that's a reasonable size, delivers good power, has plenty of storage, and something I can top up with this, the 200 watt solar panel. We're going to unbox them now. I'll get them out and we'll show you, give you a closer look and tell you why we think these are essential for van life. So then, before we start, just to make it clear that Bluetti reached out to us. They sent us an email and invited us to review this product. In fact, we could have chosen any of their product range, their latest product range. There is a sale on at the moment on their website, and you can get a good deal, and I'll put the details on the bottom of the screen and also in the description below. We're not being paid to review this, and all of what I say and all of our views are our own. We're delighted to say that they're all positive. We don't find very many negative things at all, and if I do find any, don't worry, I'll bring them to you. So just referring to my notes here, this is the EB70, which is a portable power station. Has the handle on the top to prove it. It is quite heavy, and I'll put the weights and some of the details on screen as I talk to you. It is square, and it fit. The thing we like about it is it's nice clean lines, so it fits into a locker, and we have a place in our van here where we store it, a place we can charge it from, and also take it into the cab if we're charging it from the 12 volt, and I'll explain that more in a moment. We do have as I said, the older version, and I'll put a picture of that up on screen. Now I have a set of requirements. I don't want to run out of power for a start, so it needs to have sufficient storage and sufficient output for it to be useful. It needs to be fairly small because we have quite a small camper van. It needs to be fairly simple to use. I don't want anything too sophisticated, and I want something that's reliable. And the Bluetti fits all of those, particularly the EB70, which has, as you see, to start with, a handle that you can carry it about with. Now when we're not out on site anywhere, when the van's parked up, we always keep this in the house at home, mainly because we can use it in the garden or around the house to power things as we go, and great if you do get a power cut, of course. Now the storage capacity on this particular model is 716 watt hours, which is quite a lot in terms of power stations. You can get much larger ones and you can get the very much smaller ones, which are, again, are very much more portable, but this size meets our needs best, we think. It delivers a 1 kilowatt of mains power. That's 1000 watts, and also it's got a surge of 1.4 kilowatts, that's 1400 watts. So if you plug in a kettle, for example, a small camping kettle, which normally range between 600 and 1000 watts, it should deliver power so you can make yourself a cup of tea or coffee off grid. So let's have a little closer look then at the box. On the front here, as you can see, are all the plugs and outlets. I'll come to those in a moment. I've spoken about the handle on the top already, and I'll turn it around so that you can see there are lots of really clean lines here. There's a nice flat side with a vent with a fan in, and that's to keep the box cool whilst charging and whilst the box is being used. You've got the back, so you can stand it against the wall. There's no outlets or input sockets at all on the back on this one. The other side is identical to the opposite side, and then we'll spin it round so that we can see the front again. And there we are. This one's a dark grey, but they do come in blue and orange, I believe, as well, in colour. So if you fancy a bright colour, they are in stock. You get the power brick, which is here. This is the UK version, so it comes with the power lead for the UK, and you can plug that in, and that goes straight into there like so, and you can charge away. Now the usual charging times from empty on this is between 3 to 4 hours, which is much quicker. The technology in the new power stations have improved somewhat over the last couple of years, and this one uses a lithium iron phosphate battery which can be recharged more than 2,500 times, the makers claim. So it's clearly improving as we go along. Also, it's much quicker to charge. If you use the solar panel, it can be 6 to 7 hours, depending on the sun. Now we have to be sensible about the claims here. There are bright skies and there are full sun, and I'll come on to the solar panel in a moment or two. If you charge the Bluetti with what was known as a cigarette lighter socket, one of these, again you plug it into the front of the unit in the same way and into your dashboard whilst you're driving along. Now this would take 6 to 7 hours to top up from empty, or from fully discharged. Incidentally, when it's fully discharged, it will cut out. No damage will be done to the box if you continue using it until it gets to about 5%, and it will cut out on its own to protect the unit. But if you do charge it while you're driving along, not many people do 7-hour journeys, do they? But if you're in the car or in the van for an hour or so, you can top up your storage as you drive along without even noticing. So what's on the front here then? Apart from the input socket here, the different areas are circled. So here you've got the mains 220 to 240 volt AC for the UK with 2 plug outlets, and they're the standard 3-pin plug for the UK. Just above it there is a light, and that's is full or half power or flashing, and that's really handy if you suddenly lose power or get to a point in the van where you have a fuse go or something like that. Just switch this on and it will last for hours. On the other side, this circled area here is your DC. Now this is where you've got your USB points, these little points here, which I understand for LED lights and other camping equipment. I don't use those particularly, but the USB and the USB-C are really useful. And of course you can extend by using an adapter in here. You could actually have even more USBs if you chose to do so. And you can also plug other pieces of equipment in here as well. The input I've shown you just now, and then next to that you've got the display screen, which has just gone off, but to make it come back on again you just press one of the buttons and it will tell you on the bars here how much power is inside the unit, and we're currently at 80%. I've been using it a little, as you can see, and on the digits here you've got the input and the output. So if you're charging, the top one will go up and tell you how many watts are going into the battery, and the bottom one will show you how many watts are being taken out of the battery. And it is of course possible to use the power station whilst it's being charged. You'll just get different numbers on the screen there. And the thing I really like about the Bluetti is the nice wireless charging pad on the top of the unit. So all I need to do is to put my mobile phone on the top here, and it starts charging as soon as I put that on there. Your phone does have to have that feature, but of course now if we look on the screen we can see that there's an output of around 3 watts. So the phone is currently charging. So now we come to the 200 watt PV solar panel, and it's to my left here. Quite a large piece of kit, as you can see, and I'll put the weight on the screen. It is quite heavy. Now this is bigger than the 120 we had before, being the 200, and physically it's larger too. I've got a photograph that I'll lay over the top while I'm talking of us using it with the motorhome last weekend. You can tilt these, they have little flaps that unclip on the back of the panel so that you can get the angle of the sun correct. And here where Oscar is very clearly looking after my solar panel for me is an example of how we're using it. And we did turn it a little when the sun moved round a little later, but it only took a couple of hours because we'd already got some power in the unit. So it took a couple of hours to top up the power station. Now if I show you the back of the other side of this, there is a bag here which is stitched to the side of the solar panels. There's a handle on the top for carrying it. And now it's not likely that we'll take this on all of our journeys and all of our road trips, but if we know that we've got a good case of using it, if we're off grid for a bit, then that's the time we're going to use it. It is more difficult to store than the smaller one, and that's the reason we'll probably leave it home for some of the time. But on the back here we've got a bag which unzips, and inside of that is quite a long cable that you can pop through the window, or to leave the power station inside, or through your awning if you're storing the power station in the awning. There's quite a long lead there which is really useful, and it's quite heavy duty cable, so it's not going to get spoilt or damaged. And when you're not using it, it just goes back in the pouch and is zipped up like so. Really good. Well, we're off on another road trip in a couple of days, so look out for that. We'll be taking the Bluetti with us, and I'll keep you up to date from time to time on how we're getting on with it. And each time I put the solar panels out, I'll take a few pictures and put them on our channel, and I'll give you an idea of how we're getting on. I have full confidence in this product. As I say, we waited for Bluetti to allow us to review this one, and we weren't interested in reviewing some of the others because we felt that they didn't meet our needs. Like I say, it's the right size, it's the right output. It's got a good output for all of those things that you use, like battery chargers. We can put in a hairdryer, a 1000 watt hairdryer in here, curling tongs for Sue, which is really good. And we're always charging batteries, the laptop, and so on from our power station. So this will have plenty for when we are going out in the winter as well. The other thing that we do is when we're off grid is if we're using the TV, we don't want to use the battery on board SMIRF. Now SMIRF has got about 160 amp hour or 160 watt hour battery. It's a lead acid battery, and we don't have an inverter. I've never felt it necessary to spend money on lithium batteries inside the van. We've always run with the basic lead acid, and we've never let us down because we've looked after them. But this gives us full portability and all of the safety and comfort of knowing that we're not going to run out of power, and we're not taking power from the leisure battery, which is delivering energy to our heating system and to the water pump and lights and so on. So we're not going to run out on the van if we're using all our gadgets. They can be plugged into this. And the TV is one of those things that we put on for long periods in the winter. You might want to watch the football or a good film, and we sit in the back of SMIRF and we plug the TV directly into the power station, so we're not taking any power from the battery on SMIRF. And in the winter, of course, particularly in the UK, from about October through to March, the solar that you can get from any of these solar panels is very limited. You will get some, of course, and we do get some really sunny winter days. The solar, it doesn't have to be warm outside, it just has to be really bright sunlight. And the nice thing is you can pitch the angle so that you get the most effective, capture the most effective rays to provide you with the power to charge the power station, even in winter. So if you feel in the mood to purchase one of these, I'll put all the details in the description below and in the comments section. Let me know what you think about the power stations and what your key requirements are. I'd be interested to know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video when we're in France. Bye for now.